Did you know that you might be using Excel the same way that you might be driving a sports car? In fact, a sports car that can go 200. And you're driving in first gear at something like 30. Now, yes, it goes pretty fast from 0 to 30 in first gear, but you're not going to take it much faster. In fact, if you imagine watching a Ferrari drive past in first gear, revving hard, you'll think that driver doesn't know how to use the car. You know, it could be the same with you in Excel. Excel has got many gears, and you may only be on the first gear. Now, how do you know that? Well, you'll find yourself using the menus a lot, and you may even learn a few shortcuts, but you won't have touched the most powerful feature, which is the VBA programming language, which is built right into Excel. Now, if you don't know anything about macros and VBA, they are the key to using Excel faster, and I'll show you how in this video. Just the other day, someone asked me, how do I get the number format changed with a shortcut key so that it goes to 2 decimal places in the thousands with brackets around negative numbers in red? And he showed me, he said, what I normally do is go to the more number formats. I'll check the number category. I'll tick the thousand separator, make sure it's on 2 decimal places, and select this last option for negative numbers, and I click OK. And now he had to do that for many spreadsheets. In fact, most of his spreadsheets he had to go through and do the same thing. I said, no. What you got to do is learn how to use macros in VBA. So the first question he came up with was, what's a macro? And I said, well, let's think of it this way. A macro is a bit like a tape recording. You tell Excel what exactly it should do in the exact steps it should do them in, and it remembers. So just like a tape recorder, when you switch it to record, it remembers what you say, and then it plays it back word for word. So let me show you how you do use the macro recorder and how you'd be able to automate doing something like that. The first challenge in Excel 2010 is to find the macro recorder. It's actually down here on the bottom left, and it shows at the moment that no macros are currently recording. To make this more useful though, I want to show the developer tab. That's the first thing we're going to do then. So we'll head over to the File menu, down to Options. We'll click on Customize the ribbon, and over on the right in the main tabs we're going to find the Developer tab. That's got macros and VBA options in it. So I'll click that and then head over to the OK button. Now you'll see the Developer tab. If I click on that, you'll see that I can record a macro. So let's just do this macro. We'll record it for that one cell, and we'll see what happens. So click on Record Macro. It's going to ask for a name. Let's call it Macro 1. I'll ignore shortcut key for the moment. It's going to store it in this workbook, or we could choose to store it in the personal macro workbook or in a new workbook. But this time we'll just save it in this workbook. And as a description, I'll put in format the selection to preferred number format. Then click OK. Now it's recording. And what I'll do is I'll head to the Home tab. So every action I perform, Excel will record something, or most of the actions I perform, Excel will record the code to recreate those actions. So I'll go and do exactly the same things as before. Go to More Number Formats. I'll choose Number, 2 decimal places, use the thousand separator, choose a negative number which is red and surrounded by brackets, click OK. Now I can go back to the Developer tab and click Stop Recording. To see what we recorded, let's head over to the macros. I'll view macros by pressing that button. So macro 1 is what we recorded. We're going to click Edit, and this will bring us to the Visual Basic Editor. Don't worry about finding Excel it's just hiding in the background. In fact, all you need to do is click on that button and you'll go back to Excel. But for the moment, let's just have a quick look at what it recorded. So macro 1 up here, and there's a comment. This is the only thing in black here that Excel recorded. So it's telling us that it's recorded the selection, and the number format of that selection should be equal to this expression here, which is what we wanted in the first place. So let's head back and see what happens when we try to apply that in Excel. I'll click on this Excel button to view Microsoft Excel, and it switches us back here. Let's try it on the January numbers. If I click on macros, macro 1 selected. If I run that now, you'll see that it's done the same thing and applied the same number format to all the numbers we selected, which is great. Let's see how we could use it quicker, more efficiently. We can actually assign a shortcut key to that macro. If I head over to the Options button, you'll see the shortcut key, and I'll choose Control-Shift-N because that's not taken by any other shortcuts, and it also stands for N for number format. So Control-Shift-N is the new shortcut key I've identified with this macro. Click OK, and I'll close the dialog box. Let's try that with February now. So I select all of February, and I remember my Control shortcut key, Control-Shift-N, and it updates all those number formats to the format we want, which is great. Now let's say we wanted to tweak that slightly, because at this point my friend's going, yes, I like that, it saves me time. Instead of having to go through the home menu and then the number format and click down here and choose a number format and go through all that, I can hit one keyboard combination and it will change the format immediately. Control-Shift-N. But he said, I don't really like the way that it shows zeros. I actually want it to show a dash instead of a 0. So I'll say, yeah, we can do that. Same macro, we'll just edit it and look at the VBA, which is the language it's written in. So to do that, let's head back to the Developer tab. We will go in, click on Visual Basic, because this brings up the Visual Basic editor. And where we have macro 1, we'll head over to the only line of code there is, and remember, this is written in Visual Basic for Applications, which is what VBA stands for. And so the only thing we need to do here is change the number format, which is in these inverted commas. To make the 0 appear as a dash, what we'll do is add a semicolon, we'll put a dash in for the 0, and we also want there to be a space afterwards, so I'll do an underscore, and the space needs to be the same width as a close bracket symbol, to be the same width as these other ones. Now we've changed that macro, we'll head back to Excel by clicking on this button, View Microsoft Excel. And if you watch this, if I run the macro again with Control-Shift-N, it replaces the 0 with a dash. I can do that with all of these now. If I select all these numbers, Control-Shift-N, it replaces all of those with our desired number format, including a dash for a 0. So that was a quick introduction to how you could use macros in VBA. The Visual Basic for Applications language, VBA, is pretty powerful, and it's quite a simple language to learn. The big problem with learning it is it's quite intimidating to begin with this, what's this Visual Basic editor? So my friend asked me, how am I going to learn that? Well, stick around and I'll show you more videos about how to learn macros in VBA for Excel. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you can see the potential and the power that's hidden behind Excel if only you can learn macros and VBA.